The battleground is either Towers of Doom or Sky Temple. So let's find out where the final game of the grand finals will take place. Do Dignitas pick first pick? Do they choose the battleground? Let's find out.
You know,
like we're
finding out. We're finding out. Hold on here.
I really feel like they're going to go with the first pick, honestly.
Then Sky, right?
Yeah, I feel like they will pick first pick and Zealots will take us to Sky. Oh, or...
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Wait.
So they picked first pick and Zealots took us to Towers.
What?
Hey, I mean, it has been the most played map, you know, for this tournament for a reason. And I think that's because it is very strong from that second pick. You know, granted, I still feel like there's a reason they didn't go to Sky. Like, that's the thing,
Sure.
is they didn't just do this on a whim. Like, there is something about, you know, Dignitas that they don't want to go there. You know, maybe it's the draft pattern, the way it's going to go down. It just isn't optimal for them, and they feel like Towers is better. That being said, it is the very last map, so it can't be that good or they would have picked it sooner.
I don't even know how to begin. Like, I have a lot to say, but all of it is just like a bunch of question marks. I feel like unless we get to sit one of them up here and just be like, why? Like, we are never going to truly be able to understand. I agree that there's very much a reason for this, whether or not because there's a pocket strategy available for Zealots, and I personally feel like Towers of Doom is a far better map for any form of pocket strategy than Sky Temple. Sky Temple is a very rigid, back and forth, wanting to take the team fight, and I can very much see you relying on that, wanting to bring that out. I mean, there legitimately has never been a better game to get wild with your draft.
To put some context to this, 5-1 through league play for Zealots on Sky Temple. One of the two maps left. 1-3 on Towers of Doom. So it's weird. And out of that, they didn't play versus Team Dignitas on Towers of Doom. They did play them on Sky. They won on Sky. But they've also played Sky a fair amount at this tournament. We won't know until everything starts falling into place. But the great thing is, we're about to find out because the draft is underway.
Look, straight up, here's the thing. There's been an adaptation in the draft throughout when it comes to Maiev, when it comes to the Tyrael plays. And I think that's where Zealots is at now, is they know that Abathur's going to be banned against them. There's no other hero that would be banned against them. And now we've started to see the adaptation in terms of what that second ban is. Who are you willing to let through? Because that Mouth Tracer seems to be falling a little bit in terms of priority. We saw the Tyrael Tracer in that last one. That Malfurion seems to be a little bit more susceptible, but we also have to consider the Stukov factor. How do you get to that hero on this battleground? And I think that this first bans are going to be very telling to how the first part of this draft plays out in a very different way than we saw at the game one.
Well, and I think that's such a good point. I think the Abathur is going to get banned out. I think Zealots is going to go for a Tracer ban. You're going to see a first pick of either Maiev or Blaze for the side of Dignitas, and then Zealots is going to get the other two power picks. Okay, so they are going to ban the Maiev, but I think Tracer kind of fills that spot, right? There are 4 really strong power picks, and they're going to get 2 of them.
I'm going to be honest here. I'm over the Tracer. I feel like
Really?
she's been too highly prioritized. Genji has been able to outperform her in almost all cases in this tournament, except for halfway through yesterday. And normally when that ends up happening, there's a reason why the Tracer is the one suffering in those areas. She's not by any means a bad pick, but I can't help but feel like the pressure necessary and a lot of what we saw through all of HGC in both North America and especially Europe where it was prominent, it's just not the case now that these beefcakes are coming in, the rise of the Tyrael and how heavy these initiations are. She used to be effective at microtransactions in the macro game. That has not happening at this tournament. Fights happen so fast that you have to be able to initiate and open, and Pulse Bomb is seconds slower than that of the Genji and other threats available.
The major counters, I think in particular, especially with Zealots, the Medivh factor, obviously we saw last game, but if you pick Tracer here, then you give up Blaze Tyrael. That's double the protection. You have all kinds of different ways to deal with that. So I'm 100% on board with the fact that Tracer isn't there. But with Zealots as the second pick, there is some possibility that they might go into the Tracer Tyrael still. Chris has had a lot of success on that hero, but it's going to be up to Dignitas to find something to counter that, whether that's the Uther or something else.
I mean, look at Mopsio. Look at the fatigue on his face, right? He's head in hands, just like game number 14th, 15th in a row. He's starting to feel that fatigue. I mean, his play doesn't show it, right? But his facial expression does.
On the note of Mopsio and his fatigue, before the series started, right as I was coming over after casting, he was going to the restroom, walked by him in the hallways, and he was just like, I'm tired as hell, man. He's like, this is going to be rough. Like, he admitted that before the series even started. I didn't want to bring that up because we know the fatigue is going to be a problem here. But the fact that they made it all the way through this far, game number 7, like, it just... It absolutely has to be tiring, but they do have the crowd. You know, a lot of momentum was there for Zealots, and I can't help but feel like after that Curse Hollow game, you've got to feel good about Towers of Doom. It is your map selection, and things are going according to plan, I feel like, so far for this draft. It's not like Dignitas has thrown them a wild card.
13. This is their 13th game in a row.
I guessed right then.
Yeah.
I think I did say 13. That is a huge hassle, right? I mean, as a professional player, generally when your practice schedule, generally you get 8 games in. You know, like 8 to 10 is generally your normal day, right? So they've already surpassed that, their normal practice schedule. They're going into boot camp hours where, you know, that 8 to 10 hour as a team practice, the mouth Diablo coming out by Dignitas. I mean, just there it is, Diablo as the counter to the Tracer. I mean, this is a very high priority. I wonder if Zealots does get rid of that Medivh. I mean, Medivh Diablo is such a strong duo composition. No, okay, so
I
they
think
still
that's
stick
actually on Dignitas to take care of Tassadar here.
Okay.
I don't see a world. I would much rather let Medivh through or anything else, but the Tassadar cannot make it through.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking more of like, is Dignitas going to pick up Medivh later on?
Right, because of the Diablo Malfurion
Yeah.
synergy.
There is the taskbound you were talking about, Jay, how I think it is a very good one. That is a scary, you know, duo with Tracer. Zealots here, as far as heroes they're going to pick up, I feel like Dahaka is an option. Maybe even ETC or Arthas. I mean, those are heroes we've seen prioritized into that Blaze solo lane because they both match up pretty well into it. But I mean, as far as damage goes, I mean, Greymane is up, but outside of that, it could be pretty much anything. There are a lot of mages up.
If Zealots is going to commit to the Stukov pick once more, I wouldn't mind if the secondary warrior was something like in Noob. Just because I feel like it's very important for them to make sure that both of them have hyper mobility that can force on the point immediately. Diablo, I feel like, was a soft takeaway. We saw in BOE what happens when the Diablo is a part of the Stukov synergy and what can happen there. I don't think it's a must. Again, it's their option to do so. This is not their commitment. But much like, you know, we've been talking about and the focus onto that, there's got to be concern about how much pressure is there and how easy it is for initiation for Zealots.
Really interested on the ADRD hero. Whether
Me
he
too.
goes back into the Genji, goes full dive, whether we see something on that backline, whether it's a Lunara style, they commit to the Medivh. They still
wow.
commit to the Medivh. That's a bit surprising to me.
The Leoric as well. I mean, Leoric Medivh is a pretty strong duo. Just being able to keep that Leoric alive, he gets so much value late game. This, honestly, is such a scary late game comp. If Zealots comes online 13, 16, 20, I think this is going to be a very difficult game for Team Dignitas. That being said, they do kind of have the tools to run away with it in the early game.
Greymane, still available. I feel like that has to be considered here. Does so well against the Tracer, but you have to have something else. They've got the frontline protection. They've got the Malfurion. Does it require more protection for that Pulse Bomb, though? That's kind of what I'm curious about. Does Dignitas fear that Tracer on that backline?
If they do, is something with more survivability. Like the Tychus, yeah. But I can't help but feel like, does that have the damage that they want? It would provide the threat onto the Leoric. But it doesn't stand out as a go-to for me into this draft. Genji's one, Tychus is the other. Okay.
It's two very impactful ultimates. I mean, Team Dignitas really is Team R, right? They have that huge silence, they have that APOC, they have that Dragon Blade and Odin. Those are all very long cooldowns, and that's something throughout the cast today, Dread, you've alluded to, where if you're relying on those cooldowns, generally it is very unforgiving. You have to get very impactful ults to win the game.
The Stukov. So I think this complements well. The Genji Tychus make a lot of sense because Genji can get to that backline. He also has the deflect to deal with the Pulse Bomb post level 13. You also have Tychus that can activate his Neo Steel coating to make sure to deal with the Pulse Bomb as well. Ice Block post level 13 for Malfurion. So there are a lot of cooldowns, especially the bunker that's also going to be there in case things get really crazy. So there are a lot of cooldowns, I think, to deal with that dive composition. So the Medivh in particular, I think there's going to have to be a lot of playmaking beyond the Tracer. And it starts with that. Zarmany's going to have some really good Entombs, get something, maybe even go March of the Black King, get a little bit wild with it, but with Bunker, I don't think that's the case. And with Tyrael, what type of initiation does he have? What type of setup does he have?
Exactly. That was my thought. Tyrael Leoric on the front lines. What are you going to do?
I think it's going to be problematic. And
Yeah.
I do think that having the Tracer as the front line, having enough pressure out of the Genji as well, picked up by Dignitas in the back half of the draft, I think that they have the tools to provide enough threat to where even if I feel like where Zealots is going to be looking for a lot of fights, and then they're going to have the moments where if they don't get them and they use any of their defensive cooldowns, like for definitely the Sanctification, then you'll see a counter initiation to where we see that crippling out of the Stukov. At the Leyline, Sanctification, or the Polybomb, because all three are disengaged heroics, they can't overlap whatsoever. And I expect every time you see one of those staggered, Dignitas goes, time to press the R. That's when we go for the all-in. Tyrael's is obviously, I'm going to say, probably the most impactful out of all these, just because if it goes off and it gets value, I think it's going to outweigh all the rest of them. But I'm still concerned with just mainly the Stukov and the priority into it. But I don't know.
I know it's a toughie, but we got to do it one more time. For the last time, Michael Udall, who is going to take the Western Clash?
Listen, I voted for Zealots every single time this series, and that's not changing. I'm not abandoning Sitch. I'm a believer in ADRD's Medivh, right? I think we are going to see this Cinderella story come true after this match. I'm so excited to see what happens.
You just want the crowd on your side.
Zealots.
Like, you have got them.
I don't think Cinderella's finding that slipper. I think Dignitas is taking this. I don't really have a whole lot of reasons why. I just think that it's, at this point, I don't care who wins. I'm excited either way. This is just an amazing series, an amazing way to end this.
We're all winners because we got to get to watch this. Except not really. One of these teams is going to walk away with first prize, the trophy.
I have a really hard time in my brain through all of the Heroes of the Storm I've seen or played to see Zealots and their story to make it as far as they have and do what they've done. GCWC was kind of close at making that happen, but history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. So I'm going to stick with what I know, and that's Dignitas. There's a reason they have been one of the best teams in Europe and one of the best teams in the world for a while. I think they'll clutch it out.
I agree. Back-to-back-to-back three-peat IEM Katowice champions. Here, Dignitas come. But you know what? Even more importantly than those predictions are your predictions. Who is going to take this Western Clash, chat?
Hey, they're with me. For the record. For the record,
check them out.
The last two times I was alone with the Zealot camp, and all three of you guys voted for Dignitas. Zealots won, so.
Keep that in mind. This is it. The final game, Caldor and Trickster. Let's do it.
It all comes down to this. Will the Zealot dream come true?
They definitely deserve it. They played a hell of a tournament, and we're gonna find out if they can crown themselves the victors or if Dignitas is just a little bit too strong. Their last map, the last game of the series on Towers of Doom. Tyrael played by Mopsio, Shad on Stukov, Chris on Tracer, Zomni on Leoric, ADR on Medivh, ladies and gentlemen, Team Zealots!
On the right side, in the red, Snitch playing Genji, Zilly on Malfurion, JP on Diablo, Wubby on Blaze, Poik on Tigers. It's been a hell of a series. Give it up for Dignitas!
The battle between Zealots and Dignitas is also the battle between Tracer and Genji. And before we headed into this series, Tracer sitting at 13 wins and 6 losses. Genji not quite as successful with 5 wins and 12 losses, but this could change everything. Who cares about stats if you win the final series in the final game?
That's very true. Poik, before going into the series, said in all chat to his opponents, best of one, baby. Let's bring it home.
Yeah, it definitely is the best of one at this point, and any mistake that you make can cost you the title. Once again, we have ADRD on his Medivh. We have Chris on Tracer. The hero was banned out multiple times against him specifically, and now he can finally rely on her once again. Is it gonna be enough though?
ADRD and Mopsio already chases Snitch around, but Snitch gets a better end of that trade with a swift strike. The Sappers coming up in about 10 seconds. I want to see, will the fight be brought to Zealots? Will Zealots take it to Dignitas? In terms of engage, Dignitas has a great way to fight with that Diablo.
Dignitas has a lot of hearts to see here as well, and that is something that Zealots is lacking outside of the lurking arm. But of course, we still have the Medivh factor, and especially with ADRD, that is so important. He grants the vision, we've seen it on the last map, but Tracer in this tournament had problems against Diablo, especially when played by Breeze. At this point, we have JPL on it, and already some aggression here over the camp as we see the Zealots starting to move in.
Certainly here, Mopsio controlling the side, only one Sapper left. JPL is wanting to charge in, but he's waiting for someone to be near a wall. Poik dancing as well, buying time for Blaze to come down from the top lane.
The portal could definitely come in here, but Wubby is already on the way, and so is Snitch starting to commit here immediately. The portal is in, here comes the engage again with Wubby and the jet propulsion. ADRD is in trouble. Snitch is waiting for him. Diablo is down, and ADRD, he survives.
between Shad and ADRD. They danced enough, and there might be more coming here. Zealots get a kill on Malfurion as well.
Make that a double here. Down go Diablo and Malfurion. And that was after it looked as if ADRD had no chance of survival. He jumped between portals the entire time. Snitch even waiting for him to exit the portal. And after shield was gone, it looked like he had no chance. But Diablo falls. Watch ADRD here, surviving somehow as Diablo falls. He saves himself. And then we have Zelia focused by the rest of his team.
Great focus there by Zealots, turning around on the Diablo, eventually getting the Malfurion as well. And Zealots get 2 kills to 0. Now the Sappers did go over to Dignitas, so they got that bottom lane pushing in, but the experience very similar. 3 altars activating, and Chris is keeping up. He's dancing right now.
Yeah, and the Zealots, they are definitely riding the momentum train right now. They played 13 games in a row. Mobsio looked tired earlier on, and so did the rest of the team, but they also looked excited. And once again, we're seeing them poking and prodding the entire time as they claim a small lead in experience.
A common strategy we've been seeing from a lot of Diablo players there, diving under the minion that makes sure that your opponent doesn't get pushed back so you can toss him into a Malfurion route. Sadly, Zelia was a little too late there, and Chris was able to blink away.
Malfurion with the deep roots on level 4 for the zoning tools. Shad with the interrupt as Zelia is attempting to channel the altar. And to the top left, we see Medivh doing the exact same. But Dig is gaining some momentum down here. They take the position, and a great stun against Mobsio allows Zelia to get the channel.
JPL controlling that bottom lane there, and Dignitas will get the lead, 36-32. 3-on-3 on the bottom and a 2-on-2 on the top.
ADRD in the mid lane was in a bit of trouble, but saved himself with a portal. Snitch is still trying to take Zarmany down with the help of Wooby. The portal disappearing as Leoric tries to enter, but still not enough damage for Dignitas to result that in a kill.
Already a brawl, and both our teams are on point when it comes to Sapper timings. With the spawn for Dignitas to the bottom right, they immediately run on over. Control of the bottom lane is going to be the name of the game for this match.
An absolutely fantastic series. Zealots make it all the way through the lower bracket after being defeated in the first round by Tempo Storm. And Dignitas, everybody was hailing them as the team that would not only be in the grand final, but that would also easily take the title. And right now, it's actually the Zealots that are making the plays. They are the ones being aggressive. They are the ones looking for kills and starting to pressure Dignitas.
They found their footing, and they have found some confidence. Zealots clean up the Sappers to the south side, meaning Dignitas have to come over for defense. Just buy some time for Tiro to run the middle and soak up the lane. Will Zealots be able to push on forward here? They get 7 a little bit more quicker than their opponents, but Dignitas right behind.
With 7, ADRD is working on the Master's Touch again. And nobody really expected Zealots to do this well. After they won the initial 2 maps, I actually talked to Bakery for a second. He just looked at me and shrugged his shoulders like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And nobody really knew, but at this point, it's just insane how well the Zealots play at this tournament. The Western Clash is where they absolutely stepped it up, and now they have a chance to even take the entire tournament. But Dignitas has shown on the last few maps that they are still quite strong. Once again, engagement against ADRD.
A little bit of a fight in the middle lane as Genji takes some damage. Snitch is low, so he has to back up. Zelia was hop him off with an altar spawning. Zealots with a healthier health bar between teammates should be able to start channeling. They try to with JPL stepping up. Zealots have to back away.
Yeah, Chris already with the channel attempt here. He needs to be so careful, especially against Diablo later on. Tracer very much so on the squishy side, and it's all about the mobility and the reaction time here. And again, these guys have been playing the entire day already. And right now, they must feel tired, but one mistake and the game could be over. Mobsio again with the interrupt against Poik, but Dignitas controls the space.
Zealots look like they're going to give this up. Zelia's going with the channel, so is Poik. They're going to have a silence come out the last second, but a little too late. They already had put Zarmany to the top lane, indicating that Zealots were going to go for the experience instead.
Now again, this is a map where you can play for the late game. You can really try and just delay the channels on the altars for a long time, but sacrifice them nonetheless, fall behind in points on the core if you feel that you are the team that in the late game will start to dominate and to snowball. So we've seen it a lot from teams like Team Liquid in the regular season. Zealots have done the same strategy several times, and right now they're still willing to take a step back.
But going to late game against a Diablo with a APOC, Malfurion, Twilight Dream, Dragon Blade, it seems terrifying.
Yeah, it definitely does. It's one of those things where you really have to weigh your options and think, okay, are we confident enough that we are stronger later on in the way that we synergize with our heroes, or will our opponent have the stronger endgame? And as you said, Dignitas has some terrifying level 20 talents coming in later on, but Zealots have at least taken the lead in experience that will help them to an earlier level 10. The question is, of course, what can they do with that?
One thing they can do, maybe grab Leyline Seal at level 10. That will help with the combos coming out from Dignitas. We have seen some Polybomb from ADRD slightly here, but I think Leyline Seal is the way to go, especially with the boss being towards the top side. Something to help out with control. The Quantum Spike picked up the Entomb here, Massive Shove, and Sanctification.
Especially the massive shove that we've seen so far from Shad on Stukov was absolutely crazy. He played so well around that and created a lot of opportunities where he turned a 5 versus 5 and a 5 versus 4 for several seconds. And that helped Zealots to just get a lot of the extra damage in, and sometimes even led to a kill that they could then translate into a massive lead in the game.
A slight delay here. One of the screens messed up for a second, but it looks like both of our players are ready, so we'll jump into the game as soon as we can. As a note for you at home, Dignitas is about to hit 10 as well, and lucky for us, an altar spawns to the bottom.
Altar at the bottom, and we have the 10s in play. Bunker not really coming as a big surprise, and the only thing that we're waiting for now is Odin and the question if Dignitas is going again for Tranquility. We have seen it once on Tomb of the Spider Queen, but of course the obvious choice with them going straight for the Silence and the Twilight Dream here.
ADRD chooses to go for the Polybomb. Helpful gets the Diablo dive that comes their way, as well as Genji trying to slow him down. Altar to the south. Already up and available. Teams are rotating except for Zarmany. Him in the middle lane indicates that Zealots continue to split push.
Yeah, they're still split pushing this with now Leoric moving to the top lane to get the experience here. And Dignitas doesn't hold a global. We don't have the Haka in here. So immediately Dignitas is trying to control the space to make sure that they have the channel, and they will get it. At the same time, the fight is starting. Here comes the shove. They're moving back. Poik is under pressure. He's nearly falling there.
Oh!
He's killed. Mobstio takes him down. The portal is there, and they're starting to engage again as Zarmany is still getting experience for his team.
That was a 4v5. Zealots able to grab a kill and also have Zarmany soaking during that entire duration, giving them a nice experience lead, but more points have been shredded on their core. They're down to 24.
But Zealots have now a bit of momentum going in their favor, and they use it to get the camp of their opponent. 36 point on Dignitas core, 24 for the Zealots. And already we are seeing the blue team and taking down structures at the bot lane to get more experience, to gain that level lead that they want, and move faster and faster towards that level 13 talent.
That 13 important for Leoric, but also important for Stukov, seeing those being grabbed as well as Tyrael. So Zealots gonna be fighting their power spike around that area. Dignitas themselves, though, I gotta give them kudos on that engage in the bottom lane, realizing that Zarmany was on top. It's just sad to see that Poik got picked off.
Yeah, Zarmany up here, even holding his own against 2, immediately moving in with a nice move against Snitch on Genji to make sure that he is not going to be attacked by the 2. He's not going to be tag teamed here. But the level 13 talent, Zealots, they have to run around these advantages. And this is the one key thing for them throughout the entire series. They get a kill, they make one good move in the game, and all of a sudden they walk away with a massive lead. And that's something that Dignitas has to be scared of. But thankfully here you can't make that quick core call. But there's still a lot of decisions around the boss, around the altars and the bell towers that you can make to set yourself very heavily apart from the opponent.
That's right, those calls happened on BOE, Cursed Hollow, and we're gonna have to have a call soon with 2 altars spawning, one on the top left and one on the top right. Dignitas isn't 13 yet. Typically we have that 1-for-1 trade, but I can see a world where Zealots poke like crazy in the top right. They have the Tyrael and Zarmany here to delay.
And Medivh as well, the portal that they can use once that AD already completes the channel here. And this is what they're currently doing. Whoopi, on the other hand, is already waiting to engage from the side and set this flank up. He's sitting just there together with Poik. Chris is interrupted for the first time. And during all of this, down to the bottom of the map, we see Genji with the extra experience. Shove being used by Shad to get Whoopi out of range. And with the portals, they're trying to open up a play. Keep in mind, there's also an Entomb available. If someone on the side of Dignitas steps out a bit too far, Leoric could be there with his ult.
Shad doing his best here to control. He'll have Message Shove up again soon. Genji still dealing with that sapper on the bottom, as you mentioned. Mopsio and Chris are both channeling, but the poke is too much. But here's a root. Wubby goes down to half health.
Very nice interrupts on the other hand by Team Dignitas here, really stalling for time as they don't want to fight without level 13 talents. The good news is that by now Genji has committed enough experience to the team that they have the talent, so they can go in for it. But talking about going in, here comes that Entomb we've been talking about. The bunker as a counterplay as Whoopi is in trouble, and Whoopi is down. APOC comes out. Does that really matter anymore? Genji already goes in as Snitch is trying to go for a counter kill, but he himself is in trouble, nearly taken apart by Tracer, as we are seeing Dignitas just hurting and being on the run.
A complete misfire by Dignitas, unable to land that Apocalypse. The Dragon Blade follow-up didn't work out either. Poik has to pop his Odin just to poke a little bit in this team fight. The altar is still up in the top right corner, though. If Dignitas can delay a little bit longer, they'll have Blaze back.
Zelia and they are trying to keep them alive here. Zelia at this point is doing what he can, but Poik is all of a sudden under a lot of pressure here as well, which forces Zelia now down to the middle. We're still seeing Zealots fighting for this, and this is just insane. Only 2 more seconds, and we will have Entomb back up. They could try go for another kill, but with the wells around at the top and the bottom, Dignitas still gains access to the bell tower.
An incredibly long team fight. Delay, delay, delay was the name of the game for Team at Dignitas, and they were able to finally grab that altar. With Blaze on the way back and Zealots bruised and battered, they had to give it up.
The Zealots are down to 20 points on their core, but they still hold on to the level lead. And Dignitas has still 32 points. But you can really tell how dangerous the Zealots are. 4 kills against 0. And great play around Entomb. Chris is excelling on Tracer right now, dancing in and out and looking for these opportunities and potential kills. And he nearly delivered another one earlier on against Genji and also against Tychus.
And we can't forget, though, the next phase will be the 3 altar phase. So Zealots and Team Dignitas will be fighting over those points, and that's one where Zealots have to grab too. They're starting to fall into dangerous territory when they're falling below 20 shots on their core. 16 around the corner for them, soaking the minion wave as well, and Lior continues to hold lanes.
And AD already completing Master's Touch, and with 13 we have now the Ominous Wrath, of course, taken as well. The Wraith able to reduce the damage output, and that's going to be important later on against Odin in particular. Up to the top, Whoopi. Oh, close call here. Jet Propulsion moves him out of the reach of the Entomb.
And Shad and Chris were on their way to come in and get that kill if it had landed. Whoopi sneaking away. Luckily, that cooldown should be up in time for the next team fight, but Zealots trying to hold on to 16. They're going to force an issue here in the middle, but with Zelia dropping down a route on the portal, it's hard for Zealots to chase.
Yeah, Zelia is trying to go for the portal control here. Whenever we see already moving in, he's attempting to use that. Chris still dancing against Snitch here, but we have the triple altar spawning now, and this is now the big question. Zealots, they really need to make sure that they get at least 2. They're starting to fall a bit low, and if they are down to 10, then they would need so much momentum to turn things around here. We have them up the top left with the Auric. Up to the top right, it's Whoopi with his Blaze, and down here, this is where the fight is going to happen if Dignitas moves in, but they're willing to give it up.
The smallest of windows here for Zealots gives them a nice little breeze, and they get a decent amount of shots on the court, dropping it down to 24. This is getting incredibly close for the final game of the grand final.
Yeah, it definitely is. Dignitas was just not willing to fight against 16, but they were so close. It was literally a sliver, and then we saw the experience tickle in to give them the talent, but they were not willing to engage here. And it comes back to what we talked about earlier. If you make one mistake here, it can really cost you the game, and Dignitas is not willing to risk it. But at the same time, the killer, Chris, the god, goes in and gets to give out the Twilight Dream. What a monster! Zelia with a play, and ADRD is down.
And the bunk coming out too. Gonna have a little bit of poke here from Tychus, starting to escape as well. Poik looking for some damage, but Whoopi, he gets in tune. 3 are grouped up. There's gonna be another pulse bomb, but the silence, not enough. Whoopi's able to survive, and we're gonna have Tracer down.
Tracer is down. JPL on Diablo is just a bit too strong here. It started off so well for them. Chris dove in deep with the god play, taking down Genji, and then all of a sudden the turnaround with a silence through Zelia as he drops the Twilight Dream, takes ADRD down, and we have Tracer being obliterated by JPL as Diablo just proves to be a little bit too much.
Dignitas finally getting the scoreboard in kills there. Whoopi starting to work on the sappers to the right, and if we can have Dignitas pushing on the bottom lane and break down that bell tower, Zealots will be hurting, especially with 2 ultras activating, one to the south and one in the middle.
Dignitas dominated in the regular season. They dominated every team they went up against, with the exception of the Zealots. They were the #1 seed of Europe coming into the tournament, and they have a rough time in the grand final, but they still want to crown themselves a champion here as they go in. They want to go for Zarmany. Nearly a kill here.
Shad.
Dignitas engages again. Shad moving away. Portals everywhere. Diablo completing the quest in the middle of the fight, but we have the double altar spawning now as Team Dignitas is taking position.
Zealots is back. Chris has spawned. He's coming in here. Can he get the delay on Poik? Missing out on the melee, but luckily Eldruin gets it. Zarmi is on the top left, but he's healing on Whoopi.
The portal at the side, and ADRD is in trouble here. Moves away just in time. Zarmany is going for Zelia right now, but the bunker is already on the ground as we have Mobster diving into the backline. Trying once again, 10 seconds away from having his sanctification again. A lot of the cooldowns are still missing on the side of the Zealots.
Trades for blows for both of our teams. Zealots continuing to hold this side here on the middle, but they have to look towards the south as Snitch moves in. Snitch is at Chris. Chris is low. Force of will. Shad's trying to get off the heal, but Diablo goes in. The bullet bomb at the last second to keep him alive. Chris being able to kite away. Shad gets the heal.
You gotta be kidding me. Once again, the silence here. And we have Shad saving the play at this moment. But Zealots is down to 12 points on the core, and Dignitas holds on to 24. Will be with the engage again, and another channel completed as we see Zealots dropping down into the single digits. 8 against 24 hit points.
Zealots, with Odin being popped, had to back away. They were too low, and that space created by Poik allowed for the altar to be grabbed. 24-8. Zealots are getting into a dire situation here.
Zealots still with 5 kills against 2, but it doesn't help you if you lose out on the objective here on Towers of Doom. It is the final map in the best of 7 series. Dignitas moved into the series with an advantage coming from the winner bracket. They were 1 map up, but Zealots since then have put on a fight. They've been fighting for every inch, but right now things are looking dire.
Zarmany kiting around the front here. He will have the Atum available. Polybomb is also up. Zarmany wants to force a fight. Zealots sharking around. The bunkers being used. Zarmany kites back.
Zarmany on the way back. Once again, Dignitas looking for the kills here. And this is getting so insanely close. The boss is still up. That's another 4 points. This could turn at any moment.
Zealots are getting to a point where they have to make a play. They know the Shad and the push controlling the area, having the massive jump. The Sappers, they go over to Zealots.
Medivh with the vision the entire time. Wooby always waiting for jet propulsion. JPL is sitting there looking for a target for the Shadow Charge.
With 2 altars looming in the distance for our team, Zealots are trying to find somewhere to get an inch. Maybe some damage on a bell tower, but Team Dignitas, they're holding strong.
Zealots have to be aggressive now. It's another double altar, and this time they need to make sure that they're not losing out. If they lose one single altar, it would come down to a boss.
The safe play is to at least get 1 and not lose any members. If they lose 1 and also lose a team, then Team Dignitas can end the game by going for boss.
But the problem is if you give an altar up, then the boss can finish it. But 20, is it enough to reach 20 first? They're making the aggressive play. They're going towards the right side. Diablo is still sitting there, and we see JPL moving on the minimap. He's trying to flank.
Shadow started the channel. Mobsio delays, drops the Eldru, and JPL bodyguards for a bit.
Zarmany immediately goes in. Ominous Wraith being used here, and he reduces the damage output to the left side. Shad is already channeling, but Zelia is doing the same. No interrupt available, and that's the channel for Dignitas. They're putting Zealots down for the count. Only 4 points remaining on the Zealots core. A boss could end the game, and so could another altar.
Team Dignitas has put Zealots in a spot where they cannot make another mistake in this game, or it's going to be game over and the series will be lost. Zealots spreads out, grabs the Sappers, and 20. 20 is their only goal here. It's their only chance to win this game.
It's such a hit point heavy setup that we're seeing for Dignitas. With Blaze, with Diablo, the 2 of them are so oppressive here, with also the stuns that they push out, and then in the back, you have Odin the entire time during big team fights, uncontested, and Zelia has played his heart out with all those silencers. The Twilight Dreams have done so much work and allowed especially Genji to go in deep with the Dragon Blade.
Now, good news for Zealots. There is 1 altar to the south that will be spawning next. Only 1, but here's the issue. The boss is still on the field. They're hoping to break down that bell tower. They leave Chris down there while the rest of the team runs to the top.
It's all about vision right now. So they take the bell tower at the bottom right. That actually means that the altar, or the bell tower is taken out. The altar alone is not going to end the game. The boss still could though. And to the top, the Zealots are defending their own bell tower. 4 points, both teams on 20. Both teams on 20 right now. We have the glyph for ADRD, a glyph of Polybomb that could be the game changer in a stacked up team fight.
This is getting too intense. My knees are getting weak right now, Calidor. I don't know if Zealots can hold us here. 1 mistake and they are down. Dignitas can maybe afford a mistake or 2, but Zealots, if they get a kill, can open the map.
No Holy Arena. We have Defense of the Angels taken for Tyrael. Mobso is trying to stay alive here. They're defending everything. The altar spawning in 10, and they defend the bell tower. They know that this one gives them a great position. Big wave in the mid lane, also pushing another bell tower down in hit points. Dignitas is starting to lose ground on the map, and Zealots at this point get actually a free channel, but Dignitas can afford it.
5 shots will fire here, dropping Dignitas down to 15. 15-4. Zealots on 1 last lifeline. The bell tower getting lower and lower. Their linchpin they have over Dignitas is being taken away.
The camp is taken, and if Dignitas sees it, if Dignitas goes for it, they could fight here, and they want to fight here. Zealots, are they committing? Here comes Diablo. The Tomb blocks everything. The silence is there. APOC being used. Is it going to be enough? The bunker on the ground, and we have no sanctification yet, but in the backline, the death of Zarmany on Leoric.
It is Leoric, though. That's not a big deal. Zealot's going to heal up. Leoric will be back soon. The Sappers were taken away by Zealot, so that makes it a little bit harder. The big news here is that Poik did use Odin. Odin is a massive cooldown for Dignitas.
It definitely is. And adrenaline is pumping here. I'm already feeling shaky, and I don't even want to know how the players feel. It comes down to this final map. We went the entire distance, and here comes the engage. What a play here once again as the silence comes through with Malfurion, and the kill is confirmed. Tyrael falls.
The Twilight Dream was a little bit too long. Medivh is next. He drops down the poly bomb. A little bit of damage coming out. Chris is looking for some damage on JPL, but has no pulse bomb to go in and get the kill.
Cooldowns are getting popped all over the place right now. Another 46 seconds until Tyrael is back, and we already have the altar announced to the bottom of the map, but still a bit far away. The problem is the boss up at the top. Zealots need to keep their eye on it, and this is really a dangerous situation. It comes down to the vision of ADRD, because if at any point someone sneaks down to the bot lane, it's over. If at any point Dignitas commits to the boss and takes it, it's GG. But a lot of cooldowns are still not ready, and that includes Malfurion and the Twilight Dream.
Oh, Medivh is able to scout out Snitch in the top right corner, who's ran away, pulled away Medivh from that area. There will be a Tyrael spawning, but there is still going to be a small window for Dignitas on that bottom altar.
Yeah, but all these cooldowns that we have right now, especially the Twilight Dream, 42 seconds on one of the most important heroic abilities that they need to use in these fights. Also, JPL doesn't have Apocalypse just yet, and that is another big problem for them. So they're looking for the boss, they're looking for a potential play, but at the same time, we've already seen Leoric starting to move down to the bottom of the map to make sure that nobody can grab that altar as they are looking for it. We have both of the teams in control of exactly 3 of the bell towers. 2 are extremely low. The one on Dignitas side in the middle is on half HP, but it's just not enough. Both control 4, so this could end the game here. Dignitas has an opportunity to win it all.
And the best part about this is that the only cooldown that will be missing is the Twilight Dream when it all is unfolds. The Odin is available, Poit goes in, starts looking at Zarmi, he's gonna kite away, but he's already low. There's the Odin, Dignitas is going for
The
it.
channel is there, the silence comes through as we see the entombment.
Malf?
Buried alive, Malfurion in trouble. We don't have Tyrael yet. Mobstio is on the way, but he isn't here yet. And the channel's about to be started by Snitch again. They need to go in. They need to go in. They have no choice. They need
Chad,
to fight
gets
right
it.
now. The interrupt is there. Mobstio is coming. He tries to use the border, but it's a bit too late. He jumps in. The sanctification is on the ground. They're trying to go for JPL. Dignitas is on the run. Diablo's nearly dead. Malfurion with the Twilight Dream. And Diablo is down. Snitch is dead.
Zealots are winning this fight. Mafio's keeping with a chase. Malfurion flow across the map. Poit kiting backwards. A massive shove into the wall. Blaze down too. Only Diablo and Tychus is up. Chris gets the channel.
Stukov goes in and says, you don't leave, you go back in, and they take him down. What a fight. Once Mobstio's in there, they're going for it, and JPL is the first target. Chris dashing in everywhere and taking one hero after another down as we see Shat. Just watch Whoopi here as Shat goes into a position and says, no, you are not leaving. Get back in there, and they take him down and confirm the quad.
And Zealots will open up the map. Bottom bell tower taken. They're even delaying this channel just to get a few more points. Going straight for the middle lane as well, and there's still a boss in the field. 20 more seconds until Genji, Malfurion, and Blaze are up.
They could have even played it a bit better. If they commit to this bell tower, they should have waited with the channel at the bot lane, but they still need to take that boss. If you take the boss right now, you remove it from the map, but they want the last and final bell tower. They want to start the barrage. Zealots have done such an incredible job at turning games around that looked lost, and they want to do it again.
Dignitas cannot lose this. JPL and Poit know it. They pop their heroics. They're gonna have a silence coming out as JPL gets low. He's able to bolt away. Snitch is here. Poly bump into a pulse bump. He gets out. He's down.
Genji is dead. Genji is down, but Zarmani is also low and needs to escape here. They can't commit to the bell tower. And to the left side, the minions have taken the bell tower of the
There's
Zealots.
no escape.
They can't retreat. They cannot retreat. They need the portal, and they use it.
The root comes out. JPL gets locked. He couldn't go in for the fight. If he had gotten that would have been a kill. Dignitas has actually survived.
Dignitas has survived for now, but they're down to 10 points. This comes down to the wire. This is what an insane game.
Both teams are aware that they are on the wire here. Chris and crew jump straight on top of the boss. Stitch is still down for 30 seconds. Genji could be here soon. So Zealots make the call. They go straight for the boss. That'll be 4 points to put Dignitas down to 6. Dignitas might be aware of this, but they can't afford to go look at it. They're gonna take bell towers.
Genji is down. They need to take the boss right now, and they do it. Zealots, they take it. And that also means the boss is removed. It's away from the map. It's not there anymore. They move to the top again. They're trying to claim the bell tower, and they indeed do. More shots fired here. And we have a double altar spawning at this point. If Dignitas reclaims the bell tower here at the bottom of the map, then they can still end the game by only getting one of them.
4 shots available for Dignitas. The 2 ultras up in 6 seconds. Genji has respawned. He's not here yet. Zarmi runs towards the south. Zealot set up on the middle altar.
They need to zone right now, and they're trying to do exactly that. Shat is already there. Is someone sneaking bot lane? They need to be careful. That's why Zarman is here. Snitch has the mobility, and they're trying to do that. But already, Stukov on the channel. They want to remove 1, and they do. 4 shots fired. Dignitas is down to 2. This is the altar. This is the play. This is the moment.
It all comes down to this last team fight. Wubby popping Pyromania. Chris on the side is poking a little bit.
Mobstio on half HP right now. He's trying to zone. They have sanctification.
Watch the
They could use it. Mobstio is in trouble, and Chris is going in once again. But the kill against Mobstio, is it there? He
No!
goes to Sanct. He does. Sanctification comes to play. ADR is channeling. ADR is channeling. The kill against Genji. There's no way. Zealots. This is insane! Leoric falls, a 1-for-1 trade, it's a bloodbath, kills everywhere, Shat is dead, Dignitas turns it around once more, Mobstio is slow and nearly dying, Chris wants to get the kill, Odin's still firing the big red button, Mobstio, he doesn't give up, they want to wait for Harmony, 40 more seconds, they somehow interrupt again, the explosion comes through, but it's still a 4 versus 2. Everywhere we see Tracer jumping in and jumping out, and Celia,
Oh my God!
Celia.
ADRD is doing his best to delay. He's still doing it. Chris is still alive, but he might finally fall soon. Zarmany's on his way back.
Wubby,
No way.
Wubby,
ADRD
Wubby.
is trying, but Wubby's going for the channel. Can he get the final channel here? Tracer finally falls. So ADRD is able to scout away, but he gets taken out. Zarmany not able to come back, and Dignitas on the last altar. The last team fight will get the channel and become your Western Clash champions.
Point by exit pauses the game, but it is over. GG as Team Dignitas claims victory. They are your Western Clash champion.
A bumpy road in the grand finals for Dignitas. A team believed to come out here and win the entire tournament. But Zealots, they had something to say about that, and they took them to the wire. But with composure, confidence, and teamwork that this team has been working on since week 1 of HGC Europe, they finally get it at the last altar, get the big win here at the Western Clash, and be the 3-peat champions here in Poland.
What an insane series and what a crazy last map. The first kill goes over to the Zealots, but the fight ends in favor of Dignitas, and they complete the channel. They win the game, they win the tournament in one of the most exciting grand finals that we have seen in Heroes of the Storm.
Such unexpected play from Zealots. You have to give them kudos, but Dignitas being able to pull it out here, the teamwork at the last second, just enough. This lineup is going to do amazing things this year.
Zealots can definitely be proud of themselves, but it is absolutely amazing what Dignitas was able to accomplish here as well. They are the HGC Western Clash champions in an insane tournament. North America showed up in strength and went to the wire. Tempo Storm making the region proud. In the end, the 2 European teams going absolutely to the limit, and in the end, it is Dignitas that's victorious.
Absolutely in love with this team. The composure, Snitch and crew talking about it week after week, trying to become the best that they can be, consistently trying to get better, even if it's in small margins. And it's on full display here. Dignitas getting the win. I'm so impressed with that last team fight. I'm still shaking from it, Caldor.
It was absolutely shocking. I mean, what we saw there, it was insane. Heroes being blown up left and right, cooldowns throwing around, and Odin just firing away. Poik alone ended that game with 100,000 damage, just never stopping the entire time, just getting 1 kill after another. JPL trying to control Tracer throughout the entire game and doing so well, even though Chris played out of his mind.
Absolute chaos. The Dignitas able to find a way to get through it all. We're breaking the trophy there for a second. That's how dominant they are right now. They hoisted it above them. They deserve that. Snitch, the team captain, will be met by Zealots as well as they're coming up to say hi and shake their hands. But incredible play here. And again, back to Zealots. Coming to Poland, home crowd here cheering them on, but even the Polish crowd has to be excited for Dignitas and the way that series was played out.
Yeah, that was absolutely insane. And I mean, both of these teams definitely deserved the win, but Dignitas was just a tiny bit better. And of course, you have to think about the Zealots here. They played now 14 games in a row, which is absolutely impressive. And then in the final moments, Dignitas was just a tiny bit sharper. But nobody expected Zealots to go this far, and they are definitely the big surprise story of the Western Clash.
It's still surprising to me that they made the coherent call to give up the boss, take the bell towers, go to one last altar. That takes some serious shot calling and guts from a team, and Dignitas delivered on that front. This gets me more excited for our next tournament, MSB, when we get to see Eastern Clash coming up with the Western Clash, and we see all the teams competing.
Yeah, that's definitely exciting. And at this point, I mean, nobody really believed in Zealots when we came into this tournament. Right now, I think nobody is doubting that we will see them again at the mid-season brawl, and I cannot wait to see them again at an offline event, because what they've shown here is insane. But again, Dignitas, the champion, they were dominant in their region, and they performed so well at the tournament. The only team to really threaten them was once again the Zealots, as in the regular season. They are the kryptonite, apparently, but still, Dignitas comes out ahead this time.
Well, this tournament was an absolute blast. From Caldor and myself, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to send you over to the panelists and get their thoughts on that big best-of-7 series.
Team Dignitas wins the rematch versus Team Zealots in what might be the closest game I have ever seen. That game was amazing. And of course, it was the last game we could possibly have from the Grand Finals. It was an amazing Grand Finals, Dreadnought.
I am disgusted with how good Shad is at Stukov. Even though he lost that game, he single-handedly almost saved it at about 4 different points. So many times locking down the target that was absolutely necessary. Genji and was the heavy focus, oftentimes even up on top after hitting a silence to be able to stop on the deflect and hitting the massive shove so we couldn't switch strike out. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen Stukov play at that level. And I mean, I feel like that hero's like it busted in his hands at this point. Like, and it's crazy that he was able to manipulate that, but Dignitas still very dominant as expected.
Yeah, Jay-How, the immense pressure Dignitas had to be under, because when all is said and done, Team Zealots almost made that miracle comeback that you talk about and you hear about and you only occasionally get to see on Towers of Doom after the fact that they had already beaten Dignitas once. Zealots almost make that comeback. They almost beat them again. They were the only team that beat them in the entire league season. Like, it seemed like the story was writing itself for Zealots, and yet Team Dignitas made it through in that last fight.
So close, so close. I mean, I don't think there was a single person that wasn't holding their breath in those last few minutes. Everything just unfolding so much all at once. You could see it on Snitch's face there at the end on just the stress, right? I'm sure he'll be real happy after a few minutes, but you could just see that moment of relief, but stress at the same time, like, God, we got away with that, but wow. You know, and for everybody watching, that's probably the best possible inning I think I've ever seen, and especially given the gravity of the circumstances.
Oh, Mike, ADRD back and forth. Zarmany was there just like, please let me resurrect and help my team right now. Chris is like, I'm gonna get in there, and then he can't, and it was, even the zoning and the stalling around the right tribute before Dignitas could get 13, but then the snap decision from all of Zealots to go in and hit that Entomb was just like so many amazing plays from that game alone. And there's an entire series, so I am expecting the best top 3 ever.
The best top 3. I mean, the series was amazing, that game at the end, but seriously, the composure coming out by Dignitas, you know, being so far ahead and then slowly losing that lead can just demoralize a team, thinking, are we actually gonna lose this? But Dignitas is the type of team where, no, we are not. So we are gonna go into the top 3 plays right here. We've got some good ones for you, starting off at number 3. It is going to be Infernal Shrines. AD already getting a lot of value, but JPL hitting that really good sanctification, and there you see Snitch just getting the Divine Shield, destroying Zealots right here, shredding through them with that Dragon Blade. And this was a big turning point in this map. It allowed them to get the Punisher and push through on to the fort, which gave them that level lead. And the second play, I love this one. I'm really excited to see it. It is Zealots pushing with the boss. Mopsio making the plays, flipping people left and right. Shad throwing the Dahak out. And number 1, it is going to be Zarmany's 4-man stun. The turning point in Volskaya. Here it comes. You see Zarmany, he hits that 4-man stun, and following up instantly is Chris. The turning point in this fight, giving them that Punisher and allowing Zealots to actually win this game. They had been losing the entire time, and they actually brought it back with that team fight.
Well, a huge congratulations to our Western Clash champions, Team Dignitas. We have Captain Snitch up here. Snitch, that was a brutal series for both of you guys. It was an amazing one for us to watch, but I want to know, just mentality-wise, you guys go down the first 2 games, you have that break. What do you say?
I mean, we felt like the first 2 maps, they aren't our go-tos. We're comfortable playing them, it's not our choice. We felt like if we lost those games, we were fine to just lose them, right? That's just our like throwaway maps. If we drop the games, we drop the games. If we win them, that's great. So we weren't too shaken up by losing those maps. Both of them were really close even. Like, it wasn't like we never had a chance. So we felt really confident going into the future games. Yeah, pretty much with the first 2, yeah.
Were you guys ever shaken up within that series?
I don't think so. I think after we had the Tomb game and it felt really dominant, even when we had the Curse game and it felt like it was the same thing, we just immediately reset. We're like, it was just a bad draft matchup. What they had was really smart into what we had. We don't need to get, worked up here. If we get a good matchup again, we'll just dominate the game like we did on Tomb. So I think once we had the Tomb game, we felt really confident after that.
When it came to the maps, did you have any kind of surprise at the lack of Sky? There was a lot of talk about Sky Temple coming up from Zealots, and that might be the, saving it for the end to be able to kind of be the executioner for you guys, and then we saw Towers?
I think we weren't really sure what to expect. They played Sky in the last series and they didn't look super solid on it. Like, they had a kind of a weird draft and it didn't look great. So I think we were just kind of fine whichever way it went. We feel about the same on Sky and Towers, I'd say. So we were just mostly fine whichever map it went, and we were just going to play it as it was.
Snitch, the look on your face there, man. I'm sure like you're probably much happier now, but you had a look of relief but stress at the same time. Take me through the final fight there on how that was as a team and what comms are like and what it's got to feel like, man.
No, I can take you through the final fight perfectly because it starts with me immediately dying. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. We managed to get a return kill on Leoric. We're immediately calling we need to kill Leoric or we can't win. So we were trying to instant kill Leoric, and I think I just did a stupid thing and I died. But we managed to get the kill on Leoric, and then immediately after that, it suddenly goes super chaos because everyone's popping every single level 20 they have. Diablo blinks, they throw another portal, like Stukov pushes someone, and we're all just trying to collapse on anyone. So I'm trying to help with target calling when I spot anything because obviously I'm dead. So it's pretty easy to target call when you don't have to do anything. But a huge shout out to my team. Like, they played the fight phenomenally. Jay was particularly smurfing in this game, I think. Like, his Diablo was really, really solid, and the damage was coming out from Poyo. We had really good target focus in the last fight. I think that's why we were able to take it.
Pretty amazing.
All right, so my question is, Towers of Doom, you guys were so far ahead, right? It was, 4 shots, 220, and, Zealots almost made that comeback. Was there ever, like, a creeping doubt for you of, like, are we actually going to throw this?
I mean, I think we're all thinking that, once it happens, once we all die, once 3 of us die, or 4 of us die, sorry, because Diablo respawned, and they start taking the bot fort, we're like, oh, we're gonna get 7 capped or something. But we managed to, we had a really good call with Wibby. Wibby was super calm. He's like, we need to take the top pumpkins straight away, or else they're gonna try and take 7 cap. The pumpkins managed to take their top fort, which was, I think, was super key. And then, it was kind of chaotic, but then, I think I called, like, we need to defend, we can defend this fort. If we just need a little bit of time, we managed to defend the fort with Diablo, Odin, and me. Even though, again, I think I killed myself. I was really good at that game. But yeah, we managed to make enough time to be able to save the fort, and we just needed to get another fight with another ulti, so that was mainly our focus.
Yeah.
All right, Snitch, well, congratulations
Thank you very
on
much.
being back-to-back-to-back, 3-time, 3-peat IEM Katowice champions and Western Clash champions, twice in 2 years, in as much years. And before you go, do you have any shout-outs you want to give?
Oh, I mean, huge shout out to all of our fans. We have some great fans here at the, they were supporting us here, cheering throughout the whole game. Like, it's really great to come off a game in the break and you just hear people yelling Dignitas over and over again. It really reignites you. Huge shout out to Zealots. This was absolutely incredible series. I think this is the closest final I've ever played, including MSB. Like, this felt closer than MSB. Both teams felt super evenly matched. Like, they're such a unique team, but they play to their style so well. And I think they should all be super proud of what they managed to accomplish. Huge shout out to Team Dignitas and our sponsors. Without the org, we would obviously be nothing as well. Like, we have so much support behind us. It feels amazing to have all these fans and family cheering for us. Like, it just feels really great to be able to take this home. And I'm really dead because that was a really hard series.
Well, congratulations again. Hard fought, well earned. Let's take a look at the bracket one last time because it has been such a journey with you guys to get to hear Team Dignitas. Yes, they won, and we talked about them being the team to beat. But you know what? That almost happened. It was far closer than a lot of people probably thought. This was not Fnatic, who did not drop a game at the